Hey, welcome to A Faster Me. We are at the Southern California Nevada Cycling Association Team Time Trial State Championships. I'm first on to start off the team here. We have a 4-person mixed team, and I just wanted to get a good start, get our speed up a little bit, and without blowing myself up. So I maybe do a 1-minute effort, and then I flick an elbow and let Ellen take over. So I'm going to let the team introduce themselves.
I'm Ellen.
I'm Marlena.
I'm Tony.
All right, that's Ellen Strickland, Marlena Bemis, and Tony Dang. Great introductions.
You're the expert.
Yeah. So here's, honestly, there's a big, I don't even know what to call it. I don't know if it's a headwind, crosswind, swirling wind. We're out in Lake Los Angeles in the middle of nowhere, kind of, and the wind seems like it's coming from every direction. The only thing you can kind of feel is the slight grade change of uphill, downhill, but even downhill, it always feels like you're in a headwind. So just about in a second here, I can see my heart rate's getting up a little bit, still putting in a little effort, and I'm gonna just flick an elbow here and let Ellen take over.
This was all of our first team time trial, actually. So we had a few practices, and it was really fun. So I did my first individual time trial last week, and did that with Marlena. She came in first. Got to put that out there again in category 3.
And you podiumed at third.
But then this was all of our first team ones. So I think for our first team time trial, we actually did a good job and worked pretty well together. So
How'd you feel on this effort right here? I see you're putting in like pretty good watts, up, above 250 watts.
it was hard. I was just hoping I kind of settled down because I know the adrenaline is going, but I was thinking, man, this feels pretty hard. And I swear every direction it felt like the wind was coming at you. So
Yeah, so we got Tony on front right now taking the pull. This is his first pull on the time trial. And, how did you feel, Tony? Did you feel that a little adrenaline rush right from the beginning?
Actually, I didn't, because I kind of thought the team that we were competing against didn't show up. So it's kind of, we would just sandbag it, but no, it was, you always have a little bit of adrenaline when you start, but honestly, I couldn't tell where the wind was coming from. All I was quantifying was just taking my pull, and then here I'm trying to always be fueled, so I'll take a drink whenever I start peeling off, just so I'm relatively fresh for the last leg.
All right, this is Marlena Bemis, and tell us what's going on here.
I was just so happy to be there. I had so much fun. I think I was smiling for like 80% of it. I am a big team worker. I just get so motivated when you're working with a team to accomplish something. So I was having fun.
Awesome.
It was good. I was working on a slower cadence than what I'm comfortable. Doesn't look like it, but usually when I'm behind someone, I brought my cadence down a lot, and I was looking at that. But yeah, it was a good time.
Yeah, it's good. It's great that you brought that up, because Ellen and I had a conversation about that. So
hey, I want to tell the story.
Okay. Well, let me set it up then,
Okay.
because in our team practices, I had mentioned to the team that we would want to slow our cadence down once you get your momentum up. And just something to point out here, a little off topic, but it's the video's cued for it. So Ellen's following me here, but she's a little bit too far back. Now, if you think she has a FTP of about 215, she's in the draft right now, and she's doing over 230 watts right now. So she definitely has to get a little closer, get more efficient, and just kind of surf and find where that pocket of air is, so she can, have some recovery, because she does a threshold to VO2 effort, and then she also has to do a pull. So she's kind of doing double duty, one while she's in the draft, and then once she's going to take her pull as well. All right, so back to the cadence story. So when we were doing our practicing the last couple weeks, I kind of put out there to the team that, hey, once we get our momentum going, you can keep your heart rate down, spin a little bit bigger gear, and keep the momentum rolling. And I'll let Ellen tell you the rest.
So I was really working on that, but I think that is why I was doing so many watts, because I over exaggerated that a little bit. So my cadence was much slower, I think.
Sometimes in the 70s.
Yeah, so I think that's why even my watts might have been higher. So I was pretty taxed at the end. And my legs felt okay until they didn't.
Yeah.
Towards the end. But I mean, for the most part, it felt okay. It actually felt like my lungs were more going to blow up, which is why I thought I was doing the slower cadence was better. But in hindsight, I think my lungs were probably going to blow up because I hadn't done as much cardiovascular work in the previous week. And we were at elevation.
Yeah, and
or
so
some elevation.
So the thing with the cadence, to kind of, I don't know, put some context to it, like when you're riding in a headwind, you do want a faster cadence. You don't want to be stuck in a big gear and grinding. However, we didn't really cover the wind conditions and what cadence to use. So like Marlena said, she was trying to use a slower cadence, but it's right because she naturally picked a cadence that was correct for the conditions. And my cadence as well, I kept it high most of the day because when you're in the wind, you don't want to be, struggling against a big gear. So yeah, here we're pretty settled in now, and I just mean settled into we're into the effort. A lot of the adrenaline's gone now. We're just kind of setting our rotation and trying to keep our speed high. We kind of, well, at least I kind of noticed early that the pace was slow. I knew from the week before individual time trials, Ellen and Marlena both averaged, well, Marlena averaged 22.8, is it? 22, somewhere in there, 22.8 miles per hour. And I think Ellen averaged 21.4, 21.5, something like that. And we were struggling to carry 22, 24. And so I knew we were behind and I wanted to, I was trying to get us up to like 27 miles per hour, but that was not possible in these windy conditions. So I think on my pulls, I can maybe do 25 without killing myself.
Or without killing your team.
That true.
Well, I was under the impression that during this leg, we were supposed to kind of, not really hammer it because I guess you can't really see here, but I guess overall it's supposed to be a little bit on a downgrade.
Here on this part?
Yes.
I think this part is still uphill.
It's still, yeah.
Yeah.
They all feel like uphill.
Yeah. Yeah.
But the recon was supposed to say like this leg is supposed to feel a little downhill, so somebody who's done the course before was saying, if you want to ease off the gas a little bit, it should be this leg, but the adrenaline kicks in and
Yeah, we
we're
definitely
chasing.
we definitely had some rollers on this side. It was kind of a false flat, maybe like a 0.5% most of the way, and then it kicked up to like 1 or 2. We should see it in a little bit. I think it kicks up to 1 or 2% pretty soon. And the headwind or crosswind, whatever it was, that just compounded it. So it felt like we're doing like a 4% grade or so. So, Marlena, compared to last week, how did this feel? Like, how was the difference? Being that the speeds were kind of similar, we were pretty close to your time last week. What was the main differences you saw or felt in this week's time trial, in the team time trial?
There was definitely less wind last weekend. That made it a lot more fun on your own, especially. And I was also on a time trial bike. So I was in my aero bars the whole time except for halfway through the corners. I had one arm on the aero bar and one on the brakes. But the individual time trial, I just put my head down and I didn't look up basically. And this one, I was looking around me a lot more because we were working together. So you're thinking about different things in each one, so it's hard to compare the two, I would say.
What were your power comparisons from the individual time trial and the team time trial?
I did a lot less. I was surprised actually with how little power I was doing in this race. I think I averaged 170. Didn't feel like that, but I think I averaged around 190 on the individual time trial, which was also lower than I was hoping and expected.
But you went faster.
Yeah, but the wind had a lot to do with that.
Gotcha.
And I think the aero bars helped with that as well. Yeah.
Did you feel like you were using different muscles when on the time trial versus the road?
Well, in this race, I was very, very sore. I didn't tell anybody this going into it, but I went on a trail run in Big Bear, and I blew up my quads running down because my mind got the better of me, and I was just going up and up and up, and then, so I was terrified, but luckily I did not use my quads, or I didn't use the same muscles, so I think I used pretty similar muscles, my posterior chain mostly, because I did not feel my quads. My legs felt good in this race.
Got you. And how big of a difference do you think it made? Because I didn't say, but we're all on road bikes this week. And last week, Marlena rode her time trial bike. So how big a difference do you think that makes?
I think I was more comfortable on this bike. The time trial bike was a little rougher because the pavement isn't the smoothest. There's like two sections. Part of this section and then the straightaway coming up are smooth, but the rest is pretty choppy. And on a time trial bike, you feel that a lot more. So I was hurting more. And I put a lot more hours on this bike, so I was more comfortable in this race.
Well, you're putting in a pretty good dig right here. This is a nice long effort, and it's slightly uphill also. I saw 1%. There it is again. So, yeah, Ellen, how did you feel compared to last week since you did the individual time trial as well, and you did them both of them on the same bike?
Yeah, I actually did more power in this one, which tells me that I was not drafting efficiently. And I don't know if it was just like small kind of micro surges of just being like slightly off or trying to find the pocket with the wind, sometimes like, slightly offset. But I hadn't ridden for almost a week, so my legs were, I think, felt better than I was anticipating. So I felt a little bit fresher. And then, maybe I didn't calibrate my power meter right before this race, so I don't, you don't know if that's accurate, but I did the week before, I think the day before the individual time trial, but they were just different. So it's just different of kind of matching someone else's effort, even if it's small, versus just doing what you were doing. I really didn't lose too much focus during the team one, just because you really can't. I might have just had a couple moments of just maybe being off the wheel a little bit, and in the individual one, I had just a small section also where I lost a little focus and had a harder time putting power down. But I don't know, they're just different. Mm-hmm. So, I really enjoyed them both. I actually think maybe my favorite type of racing, the time trials. I don't know. It was fun to me, both the individual and the team. So looking forward to kind of doing more of them and getting better. Like I think, Tony, you were saying trying to find when to fuel, and you did it on your way back. And I definitely did not. I did it once in a while on the way back, but I found that was harder because getting back on after your pull and being efficient, to me, that was more challenging. So I found the most efficient time to draft was after, I think maybe even after, Tony, you were done with your pull and Marlena was up, and I got kind of settled into a routine in the draft, and then I felt comfortable kind of drinking. Or if I knew Anthony was going to be on the front a little bit longer, I'm pretty comfortable drafting him. That felt comfortable, but I did not feel comfortable going back, and then when I was just on the back, because I felt like I needed to settle in and be drafting.
So, yeah, I only felt really settled in right before I was going to take my pull. Because it's almost like you take your pull, and then, I try to be upright to kind of block the wind on my side, but then I'd have to search for the cadence that I wanted. And then by the time I found it, it's like, 10 seconds, I see an elbow like flick. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, so I think that brings up a good point too. So even though this is my first team time trial, your effort isn't over until you reattach to the rear of the group. So I think that's part of the issue. And we're just about to make a right-hand turn here. For a second, I thought Marlena flipped, but she's just signaling that we're about to turn right. So yeah, so after your pull, sometimes it's easy to want to rest and want to have a little recovery. So you sit up a little bit and let your cadence slow down, but then you have to surge again to get on the tail of the snake. And really what you want to do is keep your speed up while the team is going by you, so you can attach on easier using smooth power and no big surge. And that's something I noticed later, like, we all did it, in the last couple minutes because we were all just dead tired. But I noticed sometimes Ellen was doing it a little more often, just would stop her cadence, and we'd pass her a couple miles per hour faster than she was going. This section also, this is brutal. We turned right, and it's slightly uphill, and it was a headwind smacking our face like a wall.
It was, I think, at this moment where I thought it would be flat, and this is where I started to feel the imposter syndrome kind of setting. Like, what am I doing with you guys? But no, I mean, everyone kind of takes their pulls and keep the pace going. It's you almost feel like, I don't know if you can see through the video here, but I was kind of believing like our competition was in sight, and that's a kind of a good carrot to chase, especially on the parts, especially when you get tired.
Yeah, when I was taking pulls, I can see them up the road until once we got to this turn, I could not see them whatsoever, and probably a little before we got there, just because we were on a long straight for a long time. And there's a 2-minute gap, I believe, between.
Yes.
We went off in 2-minute gaps, and yeah, they beat us by 8 minutes. So yeah, that gap was getting bigger the entire time.
So that was a mirage I was seeing, basically.
I don't ever remember really seeing them. So I think I was just focused on my pull, trying to look down for my seconds to do the pull, try not to drop the speed too much. We also started doing much shorter pulls of just kind of rotating through, which I was happy that we had practiced that. So it was like kind of getting over. But this took a lot of concentration, at least for me. Maybe some of you are a little bit better. But just the constant work of... you just have always something to focus on. You couldn't settle in at all because it was like, okay, going back, getting back on, doing my pull. Okay, I'm tired. The wind. It was just challenging.
Marlena's a little feisty teammate too, because right there, I was like, switch. I was like, pull over now or something. She's like, I already flipped my elbow. I was like, oh, sorry, I didn't see it. I'm half blind in one eye.
Well, you called for shorter pulls, and so you said, I think you said 10 seconds.
No, I said,
You said 10
no more than
seconds.
10 seconds.
No more than 10
Yeah,
seconds,
no
and I
more.
hadn't even hit 10.
I know, because really, it's kind of going by feel. Is our speed was slowing down way too much. We went down to 19 miles per hour at one point, and that's like unacceptable. So that is like truly unacceptable. So we really just, if we ride straight through like we're doing now with a little bit more dynamic pulls or rotation, like you can do a little harder acceleration to come through, and we'll just easily rotate. As soon as you pass the front wheel or start to pass the handlebars of the other rider, you can go ahead and start getting over. It'll look a little bit like a diamond. It's easier to do with more people, slightly more people, but we make it work pretty good. Just this stretch was pretty short.
I wonder if it's easier to do the dynamic with time trial bikes or road bikes.
I would guess road bikes.
Yeah.
That's what
I mean, well, honestly, they probably both are fine with practice, being that we had 3 practice sessions. I think road bikes were just a little safer at the time. I don't ride a time trial bike, so I don't really know. But yeah, I would think with practice, you can get comfortable doing either way.
Yeah, I think you have to be ready to hop back on the wheel. And sometimes that can be a little more challenging in the position of a time trial bike. At least for me, I can be a little more snappy on the road bike, and that sometimes you need that for the dynamic pulling.
But those earlier team rides that we were doing on Carbon Canyon, where we were doing dynamic pace lining.
Yes.
I think that really kind of kicked in for me. At this point, when you're tired, you're just trying to use every resource you can to fake it or make it. So, I think the dynamic pace line I think we were pretty smooth with that.
Yeah, and if you think about, like you said, the Carbon Canyon rides that we do, like you're in the red the entire time. Doing 300 to 500 watts on your pulls. I mean, that's much more than what we're doing here.
And it's only 10 minutes, maybe?
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
I think it's like a 6-minute section, and we've hit speeds up to 39 miles per hour on that. So, yeah, I think that's definitely some good training. It'd be a lot better if the road was a little more smooth, but yeah, it does pay off. And sometimes, like you said, that memory kicks in, and you get a little comfortable, and then it's just like clockwork after that. We have it going pretty good now, so it could be a little tighter, but really it's just because we only have 4 people, and you typically want to do it with 5 or more. So I'm just looking back here. I think we're getting ready to make the right-hand turn again, so maybe, I don't know if I carry this out or the next rotation we're going to make a right-hand turn. And hit another headwind, smack dab into another headwind. I thought we were going to be going downhill when we make the turn, and it's just headwind again, head crosswind coming off the left. Which is almost impossible, isn't it? Is it impossible to have a headwind to the left side, like the entire square?
Not in Los Angeles.
I guess
Anything is possible out there.
Which is not a lake and is not near Los Angeles, I may add.
Yeah. It was probably a lake like a million years ago or something.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think this might be the last pool. I think I asked Marlena here. She's, she has course knowledge. So, and she said, yeah, that's the turn up there. This is the only turn that doesn't have, someone monitoring it.
A flagger.
Yeah. So no volunteer at this turn. So you got to recognize it or, end up going the wrong way. So it's a good thing she pointed it out to me because I've never been here. And then we make the right, and we thought we were going to make up some time on this stretch, but like I said, it was another cross headwind again.
It was pretty obvious, the big detour sign, and I don't think it was that easy to get lost.
Yeah.
But when you're seeing red, who knows?
Yeah. So yeah, this is a pretty long stretch, and I think at least for me, like by now, like I'm well into it and kind of feeling comfortable into the time trial, and it was just like we're racing now.
Most of the racers that I talked to, they said this leg was the most difficult.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I mean, this one has the climb, right? Or the undulation, as Europeans would say.
Yeah, Marlena crushed the climb though, so yeah, it was no big deal.
Well, it's mostly down, right? This section is supposed to be the downhill part. So you think it's going to be easier. You think you're going to be going faster. But the winds just kind of threw that all out the window. And there is that little hill that you can see coming from far away, which isn't that bad. But when you're in the red, it's no fun.
Well, I saw it coming maybe 100 yards away, and I wanted to time to flick my wrist.
Yeah. It's like, I don't do hills. Yeah. No, honestly, I don't know. I probably had the worst strategy, I guess, of us, because I felt fairly fresh the whole entire time. So, and I guess fresh is not the word. We just started. So basically, because we just transitioned from dynamic rotation here back to a more of a standard rotation, we just kind of went with what's comfortable for each one of us and go as long as you want it. So in my head, I was thinking, all right, let's pick up the speed, and I would always try to get it back up to 25. But what I started doing was just say, okay, because I didn't know how long it was or how hard it was. So I just said, all right, let's get your heart rate up to about 180 before you pull off. And when I'm in the draft, it goes back down to 150 or so. So I had a lot of beats per minute to work with, and I just kept pulling until my heart rate reached 180 basically, and then I would flick.
When you're peeling off, is your cadence going up, down?
I'm actually just trying to slow down like a fraction of a mile per hour
Okay.
and let you guys pass me slowly so I can get right back on without surging again to the back wheel. That's what I try to do. And I do usually, my cadence goes up. I take the tension out of my pedals
Yeah.
for two reasons. One, just to give your legs a little bit of relief. And two, if I do have to accelerate, it's easy with the faster cadence than pushing a big gear again.
Yeah. I try to stay in the same gear, but I try to what they call ankling, so keeping your heels down. And so, yeah, it makes you a little bit more efficient, but the power goes down. But it's more efficient, so you keep the same general speed. So I try to do that when I was peeling off, and then, yeah, I try not to shift too much.
Gotcha.
And here you can start to see the little hill.
I never even noticed it.
Really?
I didn't until I saw it, like when you were taking your pull, and then I was like, "Hey, let's try to make sure you hold 20 going up this hill
That
if you
hill
can."
just stares at me the whole time.
It looked steep, like when you're on it. It wasn't. I don't know how steep it was, but it's kind of funny because I remember when we were talking, I tell you if you can hold 20, and then I volunteer myself. I say, if you can't, I'll take over, and you're like, "No, I can do it." But then when we get to the top of the hill, I don't know how many watts you're doing, but I was doing 370 at the time we got to the top. And I know I just told you, let me take the pull on the downhill.
You did.
So I'm doing 370 up the hill and then trying to pull. And I was like, did I bite off more than I can chew or what?
Well, I don't know how many watts I was doing.
Yeah.
I
See?
was not looking.
I flicked it perfectly.
Yeah, like
See,
that.
I see it right now. And here we go.
And right here is where Marlena and I are talking. You can see her nod her head like, no, I got this. I'm going to make sure we're over 20 the entire way. I just didn't want our speed to slow down too much.
She's used to battling guys for poles.
Yeah.
On the river trail.
Yeah. I'll burn all my matches doing that.
And if you can see my watts here, look at them climb. Like, we're almost at the top of the hill now. And I'm going to be doing, I think, 370 by the time we reach it.
Go, Marlena.
Well, if you tell me to do something, I'm gonna do it. That's why I like working as a team.
My car is kind of dirty right now.
No, that's not a
I'm
team
sorry.
thing.
I'm
That's not a team
sorry.
thing.
I'm sorry.
But I just like that. I just won't question it, and I'll go for it. And in the individual time trial, it's hard to have that kind of motivation.
No, I can imagine.
So that's why I was having so much fun here, I think.
So in the individual time trial, do you count anything, or what's in your head when you're going?
I was just trying to hold. I mean, the year before, my average watts were 209 for the hour. I did it in an hour and 9 minutes. This year, I was hoping to best the average power. I did not, but I did it faster. So I was hoping to hold above 200 watts the whole time. So I was kind of looking at that, but at some point, I don't know when it was, but my legs were just not doing it.
Yeah, well, that's something too that I mean, I have a little video about cadence, and it wasn't well planned or anything. I just talked off the top of my head, but that's one of the things too that I think a lot of cyclists have a mixed misconception of is power does not equal speed. And it's even better that you're able to use less power and go faster. But a lot of people think power equals speed, but I can easily change the gearing, my cadence, stuff like that, do the same power and go slower, or do a lower power and go faster, depending on your gearing and cadence. Typically, if traction is equal, your speed is determined by your gearing and your cadence. That's why juniors have gear inches. It's not why, that's a different reason. But if you think of juniors doing rollout, every turn of your crank, your bike is gonna roll a specific distance. So think of it as flipping a ruler. A 12-inch ruler flipped one time will travel 12, let's say one time in a second is 12 inches per second, right? That has nothing to do with power. Now wind and things like that may affect the power, but if you're flipping it at one time per second, it's still 12 inches per second, no matter what. So that's kind of the thing that people think like if you do more power, you're going faster. You're simply not. And that's how some people can do 1,200 watts on a sprint. Someone else is sprinting at 900 watts, but 130 cadence, and they'll beat the person doing 1,200 watts sprinting at 85 cadence.
Yeah, I was honestly hoping to use it as an FTP test and skip that. But I think I can do more than 190 for.
Yeah.
But you know.
Well, what's funny is, so Ellen did 208,
Something like that.
208 or something, and I only did 212. And I think
Less efficient. And you were
Yes.
pulling more than I was.
right,
So,
but in the draft, I'm doing 140, 150.
and my slower cadence was not efficient. I mean, I think the team time trial really, you have to be honest with yourself and then therefore honest like with your teammates, because I think no matter how closely matched you are with people, and I think we did a pretty good job, you know, I think we all were able to work and we're pretty, you know, comparably matched, because it's hard to have a mixed time trial, but we're all at slightly different levels. So that means that I think we could have done a better job capitalizing on some of our strengths, or having maybe different strategies of, you know, if you're feeling kind of fresher, pulling longer, or maybe we have somebody just blow themselves up like the first, you know, 6, 7, 8 miles or however long it is in the
Yeah.
beginning, and
Little
then they
longer,
don't even
maybe-
finish, or who
yeah.
knows? I mean, there's just different things to do, but I think something that I was trying to do, because I did get tired at a section, and so I wasn't doing I was doing like 20-second pulls instead of the 30 sometimes, or I was doing 30, but I was trying to be conscientious, because I was starting to, I mean, just my lungs felt really tired, and so I didn't want to blow up, so I was doing shorter pulls, so hopefully we could maintain the speed.
Right. Yeah, I started doing longer pulls. I wasn't sure how long, because again, I didn't know exactly how long this was gonna last. I was hoping we were doing it in under an hour. But yeah, I started pulling. I was doing at least a minute on my pulls, but it was really, I was just going off of heart rate and see when my heart rate got into the 180s, or close to 180. And so it was about a two-way, a dual authentication. I was going either about 1 minute or when my heart got to 180, whichever.
This leg, my pulls were definitely not 1 minute. They're more of the 30, 40 second. And yeah, you can't hear it here, but there's a time where I just called down because I felt like I was burning too many matches at a faster rate than I was projecting, you know, where we needed to be at the end.
Yeah, it's funny too, because I never heard down either.
Yeah, I wish we could have heard each other. I think that would have really helped us. But there was so much wind.
I heard
It is.
Tony, and then I yelled it.
And then I yelled it.
on this section?
Yeah, we
Yes.
all yelled it.
Oh, and when who was pulling?
You!
My bad. I really didn't hear it, I swear.
I think it was you. I'm just saying that.
Yeah, I really didn't. I was just,
You were pulling,
yeah.
and then
Never heard it.
I was on the back end, and then Ellen was right in front of me, obviously, because that was the order. But like I noticed the gaps were a little bit bigger on that leg, and so I felt like she was tired, and I was also tired. So I was like, I might as well just call down right now.
Well, yeah, it's funny too, because so looking at the video, I noticed this when I was making the edits or whatever. So like you and Ellen were pulling at about 22 miles per hour. I don't know. I can't remember for sure. I think I was talking to Marlena sometime, and I was like, we got to pick it up a little bit. So Marlena was going like 24 miles per hour, and then I would just slowly up it to 25 miles per hour. And I thought I was doing it smooth enough to where like our speed would just increase, and then I would hope that we would just continue to increase it. You know what I mean? Like to hold it. Like, because I was thinking we can at least go 25 miles per hour. Let's do it. But I know the conditions were not really conducive to that, because it was hard for me to hold it as well. And another thing to point out, it's weird, is my power profile does not fit a time trialist whatsoever. However, these short spurts, they do fit my profile. So, you know, being able to do high power for a short period of time, which honestly 300 watts is not that high of a power. Most of my pulls are somewhere between 250 and 300, maybe 310 or so. And that tells you I'm not a time trialist, because time trialists would get out here and do 350 the whole way or something, you know? So for me, I can do a quick 300 watt spurt, and then get in the draft and do 150, 160 watts, and I can stay pretty fresh doing that. So yeah, it's just kind of weird that In an individual time trial, I'd probably be the weakest link, and in the team time trial, it's a little different because I have adequate recovery.
Also in this leg, I think I come really close to Ellen's wheel,
Yes.
as everyone pointed out later. But I didn't want to say it, and that's I think why my power profile is pretty low for my stats. But I always kept trying to keep at least 6 inches or shorter between me and Ellen's wheel, and so I was drafting. I think that was the one thing I was doing well for this race.
You were
Yeah.
drafting well and you were hydrating well.
Yeah.
I was watching you do that. I was like, dang, I wish I could be like Tony.
Yeah.
That was impressive. I was trying to
He
take
may
notes.
have taken us all out, except
Yeah.
for me, because I was in front
I
of
said
him.
it to Marlena one time. I was like, Tony's about to take us all down when you almost hit her wheel. It might be right here.
And
Yeah,
but
it
I
might
didn't
be.
tell you like there were a dozen times.
Yeah, I think it was right there. I was like, he's about to take us all
No,
out.
I was asking you how Ellen was doing.
Oh, I couldn't tell, but
I
she
had
was
asked
struggling a little
Ellen.
bit.
I asked you on your way back. I was like, "How you doing?" And you just did not answer.
I don't think I heard it.
Right? So then I was like, "Oh no, she's in trouble." So I looked at Anthony. I was like, "How's Ellen doing?" And you just made a face. I was like, "No one's telling me how Ellen's doing."
I don't know.
So I was getting concerned, but I didn't hear anything from her. So I was like, "Well, you're just gonna
Hey,
keep
it was-
going."
yeah, she's still there. We just keep going. That's all.
Yeah.
If she's doing that bad, we won't see her anymore.
Oh.
I thought you were asking how I was doing. I was like, eh.
Oh, and that's my friend, the flag waver. That's my friend Tom's dad.
Oh,
That's
okay.
flag waver. He's out there every time.
Yeah.
He does it how you're supposed to. You wave it up and then you do it to the
Oh,
side you're
up
supposed
and
to
then
turn.
to the side.
Last week I did not know that, and so I saw him waving it up, and I was like, "What does that mean?"
I didn't know it until right now.
So that's how you're supposed to do it. Yeah, Mr. McCarthy.
Yeah, so here's a section where this is kind of like the fastest section, and this is where we try a little echelon here. So I shout out to Tony, hey, take the left side of the lane and let's echelon because we've been in a headwind coming from the left, so we have to have at least a little bit of left wind here, and so we start a little echelon, and it works out pretty good. I thought it's not exactly real smooth, but it is our fastest section. Or session, yeah, section. And I asked Marlena here, I was like, hey, hold 25. Let's try to hold 25 the entire way. But I think no one else heard that because I was thinking, hey, it's kind of gutted out time now. We have to really pick up the speed. It's gutted out time. We have what, I don't know, what does that say mileage wise? So we have about 8 miles to go. And yeah, I mean, that's like a 20-something minute effort. Let's just gut it out is what I was thinking. So here, Ellen didn't hear the echelon call, and Marlena had it at 25, and I hear her yelling at me, "Don't cross the double yellow," which I wasn't, but I heard her yelling at me. But I did get close to it, so I think she thought I was going to cross the line. And then I just move it up to 27, but Ellen's sitting next to me doing like 310 watts or something, and I'm just like, hey, echelon, get in the draft, and she's like, it's too much of a headwind. So we'll see in her watts in a second. I don't know if I replay it back, but yeah, she's doing an incredible amount of watts just on the side of me.
Yeah, I couldn't find quite the pocket, and then I think you did something with your arm. I didn't know if you flicked or if you, maybe when you got over close to the yellow, I thought you were, maybe I missed a flick, so I wasn't sure. So I came up next to you and asked if you were still pulling. You're like, yeah, I'm still pulling.
Like, don't you see me?
So then I tried to find the pocket, and it just, I didn't find it so good.
And there she goes. Yeah, so if you look here, this is a kind of a slight replay of Ellen taking over. But if you look, her watts, they're down right there. But yeah, she was doing a lot of watts, and then she comes through on a pull here. See, I was trying to tell her, like, oh, she's not pulling, yes. I was trying to tell her just echelon.
You're re-pulling.
Yeah, and this is notoriously the part of the course where dogs will come and join you.
Oh, great.
So I was on high alert, but there were no dogs this time. I think in our warm-up last week, we had a nice little dog.
That chased both of us, chased me on the way down the street, and chased
goodness.
Marlene on the way back.
I
Yeah.
didn't even know that.
It
That's
was
good.
It was
Yeah.
small.
Yeah.
I didn't know they go 20 miles an hour.
Yeah, exactly.
We weren't quite doing 20 in the warm up, but that little dog could run pretty fast.
That's
But,
a big gap, Ellen.
Wow. But we were
You're doing a
28 miles
lot.
an hour.
You're doing a lot of
Power.
yes, you had
Yeah.
like there was a full bike link between you and I.
I was
Got to get on that wheel.
starting to. Well, that's when I couldn't find the pocket, so I was struggling. At this moment, what's my heart rate? 166.
Yeah.
Not too
165,
shabby.
170.
170 is getting pretty high for me, but not bad.
Is this where we turn the corner?
Yes, in just a couple seconds.
Yeah.
Because I saw the school, and
Yeah.
it just made me think of young people, and I thought those juniors might be on our butt right now.
I so did not want them to catch us. I'm glad they didn't.
And
We're echeloning.
yeah, it's good.
This
at
is good form. This is well. We had a good little echelon going for a second. This is good.
Yep.
But when we turned the corner at the school, I felt a little adrenaline boost. Maybe it's because my narcissism was kicking in, and I saw people with some cameras. I let the team know that like if there was a camera person with a camera at every mile, then we'd just hammer this at like 30 miles an hour because.
See, you should have told us at the beginning. I would have said, Tony, you know you're on video, right?
And the miles per hour and the speed will be recorded.
yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, we came around the corner. I think I was leading, and then I thought, okay, that's a perfect place to have someone take the lead. And Tony did. We came through good, but then I think gaps opened up.
See, now I don't know if what's the right way to do it or not, but I think you keep the same person pulling through transitions. And then after it stabilizes and straight, we regroup again, then you rotate. And as you see, as we turn through this corner, we were like really busted up. And I couldn't tell if Marlena had dropped the wheel or slowed down for a second. So I went around her to get onto Tony's wheel.
Yeah. And then I when you were pulling, there was a little gap forming, and so I plugged it in because, well, you said at that time we only have a mile left, so I was like,
Yeah, I think I said 2 miles or 3 miles or something, but we had
And they're
7
like,
miles.
yeah,
I was looking at our miles per hour. I was like, come on, Tony, finish strong. We got 1 mile to go.
well, yeah. So that motivated me, and then the fact that I realized he lied to me, I used that negativity to drive me to pull the extra 5.
Yeah, it was funny. I couldn't remember, but I thought I heard either Ellen or Marlena say that too. Like, we got 7 miles. I was like, oh, sorry.
And that's when I had told Tony to fill in the gap because I was feeling pretty fatigued because we were broken up a little bit. So I was feeling like I did not have the effort to get back on the wheel and maintain, even though I was just out of the draft.
Yeah, and that's funny too because my pull just didn't time right. I was gonna try to pull all the way through the corner, but I was like, it makes no sense to blow up with 7 miles left, so I just flicked my elbow. But yeah, so here's the turn here, and Ellen's gonna turn like a car. Hit that apex, girl. You got 6 feet over there that you could hit the
I
curb.
was thinking of Tony going by and us continuing the speed, which I thought we did really well.
Yeah, so I saw
But then
that
there
big
was no
gap
one
right there. So I went around Marlena, slacker.
No, I think I didn't understand what was happening because I thought.
Right hand turn.
You can smack it. It's completely acceptable.
I thought I was scared that you were going to stop at the school. I thought that's what was happening. Because again, no one was telling me how Ellen was doing, so I thought you were.
You
pulling
thought she was
off.
quitting.
I had no idea what was happening.
I did not
She was gonna
know.
get in the car right there.
That sounds like it's the perfect spot. But like no.
I didn't know Marlena was so concerned.
No, and through that corner, I don't think I knew what was happening. I was okay. I just was so confused.
Yeah.
And then I saw people with cameras, and then I was like, suck in
Tony's
your
like,
gut,
I'm gone.
make a good face,
Yeah.
look good, have your chin real strong, and. But this is the last lap, and at this point, I'm turning all the negatives into fuel. So this is Lake Los Angeles, and so I'm mad there's not a lake,
Right.
and I'm mad that it's not near Los Angeles, and I'm mad that Anthony told me there's 2 miles left, and it's not.
Yeah.
And mad that the juniors are gonna catch it.
Exactly,
Yeah. No, yeah, we're pretty much in the.
In the red.
Yeah, we're all in the hurt locker on this little stretch. Yeah, it was just crazy. I don't know. It felt like this wind. Maybe it is because it's an hour later. Maybe the wind's a little stronger now this time. But this stretch felt way harder than at the beginning. I mean, like I said, I wasn't really physically that taxed that much. But yeah, I started feeling it a little bit here.
Yeah, I think at one point I said down. I said, or if you three are feeling good, go on without me, because I thought you guys all were looking strong at this point. Tony got a second wind, and I was like, go on without me, and Marlena shook her head.
Well, you can see how hard Marlene is working right here, and we're only doing 23 miles per hour, and it looks like that effort is worth way more than 23 miles per hour. So definitely the conditions are tough right here.
That's what gets you. This stretch is hard
is.
because it's a false flat, or not even so much. It's uphill.
Right.
You think you should be going faster because it's a kind of a smooth straightaway,
Yeah.
but you're not going fast. So you can dig deep in this section just because it's built that way.
Exactly.
And
It
then-
forces you to dig deep.
And that's how it's so easy to blow up on the first part of this time trial, is because you can just go to a dark place in this segment.
Yep.
So I was definitely feeling that here, because I was seeing the speed go down and my effort. I was like, this doesn't match.
Yeah, that is so true. I mean, yeah, I don't know why it's that much harder, but anyway, so let's go into what can we do different? What did we learn from this event?
I think going into it, we were planning on just having fun. I think that's our attitude during the practices and during the days leading into it. I think we were going to have fun. And I think that changed when we got to that start line and we saw the team that we were up against. So I think next year we come into this with a winning attitude, not just a fun attitude, and we work on a couple things.
And we're ready to suffer.
Yeah.
We're ready to actually suffer, not stay comfortable. We're ready to put in a true effort. And you know what? If you blow up, you blow up.
And I think the confusion that happened on the short part that we just came off of, I think that cost us a little time, because no one knew what we were doing. We couldn't really hear each other. and I think we could have made up time there.
For sure. To me, and I could be delusional, that section before the school seems like at least a 30 mile per hour section.
But it's bumpy. It's not smooth.
Got to do it.
Well, just because the pros can do 31 miles per hour on this course doesn't mean we should maybe hold to that standard. We might blow up a little bit more than we did, or at least I did, on that second leg.
True that. I mean, honestly, it's like Marlena said, with first time coming out for fun, wanting to do some teamwork, it was a pretty good effort. Yeah, we don't really know what we can do, honestly, because we have to train for it. We have to push ourselves in training to know what we can kind of do out here in the event.
We also want to not bring a knife to a gunfight. So
Right.
we'll try to maybe roll out with some time trial bikes and get a nice smooth pace line going, just because, I mean, I may not have ridden on my time trial bike as much as Marlena, but definitely on the straightaways, it does feel like you're going 1.5 to 2 miles an hour faster with less watts. It just feels really smooth.
I gotta try one out.
You're
Ellen?
both on the hook now.
I guess I'm not so worried about other teams or anything with that. I think I can definitely draft better. I think that was evident by my power numbers. Cadence could be a lot better, but this is the kind of suffering I like. So I think I did about as close to what I could do. So as far as mechanics, that can get better, which then would probably lead to going a lot faster. So cadence and drafting, but I mean, I felt like I was drafting pretty good or riding close, but and it may have been more my cadence than anything now that I think about it, with my cadence so slow and then just a few moments where there was a little gap. But I think having clarity, because I knew exactly what I was doing. I thought it was perfect on the corner of having Tony come around, but the communication with us, I don't know how we can communicate better, because it is so hard to hear, and when you're tired. And then, I mean, I had no idea that Marlena, you were thinking like, or had asked me how I was doing, didn't answer. So even for that to be in your mind, I think we have to have better ways of like communicating, or even signaling like when we're really tired, you know, I mean, just maybe hand signals or something of when we're passing or when we're taking our pull, to kind of say like what level we're at, because we want to just maximize everyone's strengths and have everyone tapped out by the end, instead of having some people feel fresh or feel comfortable and some people being like done.
Yeah, and for me, just my personality, I'm a little more technical. So yeah, I think when we put in the time, put in the effort, learn more about the events and what's most efficient, I think that's just the things that I like. So as far as the effort that we gave, I'm actually okay with everything. We did what we could. It always feels like after an event, it doesn't matter if it's a crit, road race, whatever. As soon as the event's over, you always feel like you could have done more or should have done more. But the reality is you did what you could do at that time. So yeah, I'm just looking forward to keeping the teamwork alive, building the team out through some of our other members as well. Who knows, even in the future, we may have auditions for who's going to do the mix or who's going to do the 4-man team, you know, stuff like that. We can all do it, of course, but we may field more than one team. So yeah, I'm looking forward to hoping to build that out, and I'm looking forward to the off season and getting some good endurance rides on where we can really nail down our pace lining and just rotating, get our hand signals together and all those kind of things.
I think it would be awesome to have a bunch of teams out here. So whether it's the mixed, whether it's 4-person women team, I mean, that there's the 2-man teams. I mean, it would just be really cool to have a really big showing, you know, because we did have a couple supporters come out. Nancy came out, Francisco, Jorge came out, and so the camaraderie is fun, but to have a lot of people competing, that would just be awesome. It would be a whole different game, especially with the teams that you could get some ages together. So I think if we really all got out and trained and had more people come out, we could even kind of better match our levels of who could go with who the best. And that would be really fun.
And you also don't need a $5,000 time trial bike to participate. And I mean, I don't think were we the only road bike?
No, the juniors behind us all had road bikes, and some other people had road bikes too. Some had road bikes with clip-ons, and some just had
Yeah,
road
and you
bikes.
can just have a clip-on which doesn't cost obviously $4,000, and can still have some of the benefit.
I gotta go big though. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah.
You're not
So,
kidding,
George,
unfortunately.
George and Francisco, they actually were gonna do a 2-man, but Francisco ended up getting hit by a car during the week. So he's okay, but yeah, he got hit by a car. Some lady went around and turned right in front of him. I don't know why she thought she could beat him to the driveway, but she hit him, didn't even stop, went on to the YMCA and went on about her business, but they caught up to her and, you know, did the whole exchange information and all that stuff. So, but he's okay, he's a little sore, and hopefully he'll heal fast. So.
Coming into the final stretch.
Yeah, we got a little more suffering to do. About 5 more minutes of suffering. What do you guys think? Some of the best time trials in the area.
went out to the Valley of the Sun earlier this year, and that was a very fun time trial. I made a rookie mistake. I don't know why I'm talking about it, but I understood that we had to ride in the shoulder. That was not the case. So I had a very slow time just because it was mainly gravel that I was riding in.
That's crazy.
But it was a beautifully paved road.
To look
so
at.
Yeah,
hard.
exactly.
There was actually a crash in front of me, and I thought I was gonna get DQ'd for going around the crash and leaving the shoulder. But just leaving the shoulder, I sped up 2 miles an hour. But it was a beautiful time trial. It was 7 miles out, 7 miles back. That's probably the most fun I've had.
It's probably hard too, because I mean it's shorter, so you can put in more effort.
Yeah,
You know.
it's flat. People are putting up some big times.
Yeah, exactly.
I would do that again.
Did you say they have some time trials in Thousand Oaks as well?
Yeah, I believe they're called the Pyro time trials. They've been going on for a while. They happen every month, I believe. I've been meaning to get out there. Maybe I'll get out there this summer.
Yeah, and I know earlier in the year I had looked up north where they had some time trials up north, and I think they had some in Los Angeles also. And I didn't understand how time trial events go, so I was thinking more of road racing and crit races. And when I looked at who was signed up, there was kind of no one signed up. So I thought, okay, I don't want to go out there if no one signed up. But it seems like that's kind of the nature of time trials, that when it's a pure time trial event and not a stage race, that there's not as many participants. So I don't know why. I mean, it's one of the safer forms of racing. It's fun. It's kind of quick and easy and doesn't disrupt your day, kind of like, you know, sometimes like crits or road races do where you have to wait all day. So yeah, definitely going to look into some of those next year, and hopefully we can go out and compete a little.
It's a very supportive crowd. I mean, my first time, and I felt like a fish out of water, but everyone was very helpful, informative, and very encouraging.
Yeah, if you see on the video, we got kind of busted up there. You know, Tony did his pull and helped crack our team a little bit, because look back and everybody was all busted up. So
You're welcome.
we had to slow down a little bit and get everyone back together. And yeah, I think we just kind of ride it out here and just try to keep a steady tempo, no more rotating. Just kind of ride it out and get to the finish. We're all kind of tired here. It's kind of hot out there, but the temperature is good. It's just that wind was brutal and it was just wearing on us.
Yeah, I think I was shouting down from the back, but clearly we just could not hear each other.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just lost the wheel in front of me. I think this final stretch, that was all I was thinking about, is don't lose the wheel. And I kind of lost it, and it was just downhill from there, even though it's going uphill.
Yeah.
Don't worry, I lost it long before.
Right, and we needed the 3 people to finish, so I was feeling the pressure.
Yeah, so if you don't know, we have a 4-person team, but you have to have three finishers for your time to be official. So when the 3rd person crosses the line, that's when your time's up.
And I knew I was the 4th person, and I still gave a hard effort to try to cross the line. I was delusional.
Yeah. No, it's just, I mean, it's weird. It's weird, like coming to a finish line where, you know, you're not in a full sprint or whatever, an all-out effort to get to the line. So hopefully next time we will be. Hopefully next time we will practice a little better, keep our group together, and just stay intact the entire time.
Yeah, I'm excited for next year.
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, hopefully we'll be back, not only to this one, but to Valley of the Sun and some of the other time trials in the area. We've always wanted to travel a little, do either Valley of the Sun or Tucson. Valley of the Sun would be great. I know a lot of Southern California people get out to that race, and yeah, we'll try to give it a go next year. So yeah, if you made it to the end of this video, we definitely appreciate you watching. I would say get a life or try to get outside and not be on the trainer as much. But if you're stuck on the trainer, yeah, we appreciate you watching these videos and spending a little time with us. And if you're still here, yeah, give us some info on what's the best time trials in, the western states or California, and maybe even some advice on time trial bikes. Any last comments?
Thank you to my wife for supporting me.
Woo, Nancy!
Nancy!
Woo! Yeah. I just had so much fun. I can't get over how much fun I had. I mean, it was serious, but this was a good time.
Yeah, this is the end when Marlene is like, "What are you guys stopping for? Go!"
Yeah. Because I was coming in.
Yeah, and I was a little confused. I was like, I think we need to, have her with us.
No.
I didn't know how far apart you can be and still get counted. So I was like, do we need to be
It's
together?
just the first 3.
I know. What if you're like a mile apart from each other?
Then it's the person mile back.
No, it's crazy.
But you told me to slow down.
I did.
Yeah.
I said, because I was thinking if she drafts us,
Sure.
we'd go
Yeah.
faster. So I was like, hold on, let's wait for Marlena. And then she was like, go!
Downhill.
It was at the finish line.
Yeah, it was pretty close.
Slow down.
Well, we had discussed spreading out and finishing.
We were spread out.
I know, but Tony and I split like to go across the line, and there was like no one behind us.
Thanks for tuning in.
Yes, thank you for watching.
Thank you, everyone.